receive recurring automated marketing messages from Tax Lien Code. Message and data rates may apply. Terms apply. Available at taxliencode.com.
Imagine waking up and not needing to rush. No commute, no emails, no boss. Just coffee, sunlight, and the freedom to choose. That's the power of tax lien investing. It's been around for over 200 years, used by banks, hedge funds, and the wealthy. And now, finally, it's being taught right here in Seattle. It's secure, predictable, passive income backed by real estate and mandated by state law. And it pays you, sometimes 15 to 35% returns. You don't need to own property. You just need to see how it works and how to do it right. We've taught over 100,000 students, and we'll teach you for free at a live masterclass right here in Seattle. If you're ready to start building real wealth through tax lien investing, this is it. Text LEARN to 26022 to reserve your free seat. That's LEARN to 26022. But hurry, seats are limited. Text LEARN to 26022.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Coming up at 10 o'clock, there is something that is happening in Tacoma that absolutely breaks my heart. If you're familiar with 72nd and Pacific Avenue, I will tell you what is happening next, coming up on the Gee and Ursula Show. Also, Ursula, I'm going to talk about AI here in a second, but I need you, at least in the 10 o'clock hour, you need to call Long Live Mark.
Okay.
You need to come up with your Seattle sports Mount Rushmore.
Okay.
I need you to come up with that.
I need to rely on my husband.
Well, no.
I mean,
get his opinion.
I agree with Sue Bird. That's one for sure.
And Ken Griffey.
Those
right.
are two.
Those are two.
Yeah, two. The other two, debatable.
Okay. And for sure. But look, I will say, and by the way.
Does Russell Wilson have any spot on there?
I mean, you could.
Is there an argument to be made? I mean, Super Bowl? Text us 888-973.
Sure.
It's not often that I make you speechless.
By the way, I would say, you said Sue Bird. I would say the only person that would be 1,000% on every list would be Ken Griffey.
Yes.
That's the one that nobody is going to argue.
Right, exactly.
So that's the one. Here we go. We do need to talk about how much we're relying on AI. So if you're using ChatGPT more and more to help with things, you might want to pause and think. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, is now saying openly that entire job categories are about to disappear thanks to AI. Not just a few gigs here and there. We're talking about full industries getting upended. According to Futurism, he specifically called out customer service jobs, saying AI can now handle everything from answering questions to solving complex issues faster and more accurately than humans. Though a study last year found that most companies don't want AI replacing humans in these roles, at least for now. And get this, some software developers are saying they're 10 times more productive using AI. 10 times, y'all. A task that took a whole week now takes 10 minutes. He did toss in a little comfort. Jobs that involve physical labor, still safe.
Okay, that's comforting.
That's why I always say tech schools. I'm always bringing it up. Yeah. Trade schools.
Okay, I'm going to take issue, though, with his premise, though. Okay. He says that customer service is going to entirely disappear, that AI can handle everything. I want to ask y'all, have you dealt with an AI customer service representative?
Yes, I have.
Did you think it was good? Was it a good experience?
Well, as someone who does not like self-checkout, as someone who does not like to do that, I personally don't like it. However, there have been times where, and I know you all have seen this, where you're forced. Yeah. Like you cannot get. They're like, they will not patch you through to a human.
I was recently in that situation, and it was frustrating as all get out.
Klarna is a pay now or pay later service. 2/3 of their customer service is AI.
And how's that going?
Well, Jay just started hiring some humans.
Yes.
Because they did admit there was some dissatisfaction. So all the CEO is saying, Sam Altman is just saying this. Okay, for the Gee and Ursulas of the world, and for some of you all, they're like, no, I demand to talk to a representative, a human. Those days are numbered. Like, and on last week, we talked about it. Let's be real, y'all. We just have seen Microsoft $25 billion in profit the first quarter of 2025, and they have laid off 15,000. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it real, everybody. It is here, and fortunately or unfortunately, Ursula, we don't talk about it enough. And so, yes, customer service jobs will likely be going away. You all have been in the airport.
Well, they've already, in large part, a lot of the customer service jobs are offshore. A lot of times I am talking to people in the Philippines, for example, and I enjoy those conversations because then we talk about the Philippines, but a lot of those have already been pushed off to different countries where labor's a lot cheaper. And so now we're talking about this AI thing. But I still think that there are times when I want to call somebody and I really need to ask specific questions that AI gets confused or AI will give me. And by the way, I love ChatGPT and it helps a lot with my job. But you have to fact check constantly and you have to know and you have to ask and say, even this morning I was like, no, fact check. Yeah. And they were like, oh, you're right. Because AI is only as good as the input you give, right?
My plan, Ursula, is to become friends with Gen Z and them so they can hire me and take care of me. Nick, Sophia, I want to be y'all's friend. So when you guys get rich, you can take care of your boy. Ursula,
I want to ask you, Sophia, though. When you hear stories like this, you're just starting in your career. Yeah. Does this excite you or make you fearful?
Yeah, it's not the most promising. I not at all, you know. I feel like it's something you hear, especially entering the workforce. You're like, oh, your job may disappear in the next decade.
Yeah, Gen Z looks at us. Look, they just being nice to us. Gen Z's like, hey, we've been waiting for you guys to get out of your jobs. And then, oh, by the way, as soon as we wait for you guys to get out of it, those jobs are going away. Keith, by the way, we are going to bring back up this Seattle sports Mount Rushmore. Keith just texts me and says, Gee, I don't often disagree with you, but while Ichiro belongs in the Hall of Fame on the strength of his number of hits, he doesn't belong on Mount Rushmore of Seattle. Wow, Keith, those are fighting words.
Well, a lot of you are weighing in. So who's on your Mount Rushmore?
Yes,
during the break, I will get a little advice, and I'll add my two. I said Sue Bird and Ken Griffey Jr. I need to add two more.
Nick, next, at 10 o'clock, you have to put yours out there, too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Hey, coming up next here on Gee Ursula Show, there's something happening in Tacoma that really breaks my heart. On 72nd and Pacific, if you know, you know. We'll talk about that next. Gee Ursula.
If you're traveling through the SCA airport this summer, use the new Security Checkpoint 1 at the south end of baggage claim. Just one of the many upgrade SCA projects taking your airport from now to well. Stay up to date on all airport projects by following @FlySCA.
An official message from Medicare.
I turned 65 this year. I knew it was time to figure out Medicare, and I had questions, like when to enroll and how to enroll. So I went straight to the official source, Medicare.gov, to get the facts about Medicare. I found answers to all my questions, and I'm ready to get started. And so can you. Just go to Medicare.gov to get the real facts about Medicare.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor?
One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Reutin, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering small ship experiences with a shore excursion included in every port, and programs designed for cultural enrichment. Discover more at Viking.com. Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com.
KIRO-FM and HD1, Tacoma, Seattle. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Steve Kathan. President Trump urges Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to get food into Gaza, and he suggests increased American involvement.
We're going to set up food centers, and we're going to do it in conjunction with some very good people.
CBS's Elizabeth Palmer says it comes after Israel indicated it would limit some military activity in Gaza to allow aid in.
Aid trucks are on the move after a sudden reversal by Israel. It announced it would enable more food and supplies to enter the Strip after pictures of hungry Gazans and malnourished children shocked the world, prompting international condemnation.
President Trump says he's cutting the 50-day deadline he set for Russia's Vladimir Putin to strike a ceasefire deal in Ukraine.
I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting.
Authorities say several people have been shot at the Grand Sierra Resort and Casino in Reno, Nevada. A suspect's in custody. In Atlanta, one person killed, 10 others hurt in an overnight shooting at a busy nightlife area. No arrests made. New court action today on the Trump administration effort to defund Planned Parenthood.
A federal judge in Boston has extended a preliminary injunction she granted last week, ordering the government to continue to reimburse Planned Parenthood with Medicaid funds for such services as birth control and cancer screenings. U.S. District Court Judge Indira Talwani said a provision included in the president's signature tax and spending legislation that the administration is using to defund Planned Parenthood is likely unconstitutional because it punishes the organization organizations' health centers for providing abortions. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
It's another week of extreme heat in several parts of the country.
More than half of the nation's population is under heat alerts, with many places from the plains to the East Coast in for temperatures that feel as hot as 115 degrees. These construction workers are trying to cope with the heat in Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
We drink lots of water, take frequent breaks, look out for each other, find AC when we can, stuff like that.
We usually keep 5 gallons of water at all times. That's what we got to do.
The extreme heat in the east is expected to break by the end of the week. Jim Crisula, CBS News.
Now to New Orleans, where the search is on for an inmate who was mistakenly released at the same jail where 10 men broke out earlier this year. 9 of those 10 were caught. Sheriff Susan Hudson.
The error stemmed from a clerical misidentification, where he was confused with another individual sharing a similar last name.
And checking Wall Street, the Dow is down 28 points. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
A shooting at the Northgate Transit Center. Details coming up at first. Because of that shooting, the B2 entrance at the Transit Center in Northgate is closed for the investigation. In South Center, 2 lanes are blocked on I-405 at State Route 181. Not seeing a huge backup yet. In Totem Lake, WashDOT says 2 lanes are blocked on I-405 southbound near Northeast 132nd Street. That might be cleared. No significant backup there. 2 lanes closed for construction on I-5 northbound near the Ship Canal Bridge. Express lanes are open northbound, putting pressure on your southbound commute, so travel times are a bit off still. Linwood to Seattle, 50 minutes, half an hour longer than usual. Alderwood to South Center, 77 minutes, 38 minutes longer. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. A man shot at a Seattle Transit Center this morning and the suspects are on the loose. KIRO News Radio Scott Carty joins us live at the scene. Scott.
Heather, we have verified with detectives that there were 2 suspects and one was in a gray hoodie wearing a mask. They walked up to the 48-year-old male victim and shot him in the head. He was transported to Harborview in critical condition. Police are actively searching the area. I can see the evidence team right now has been on the actual scene, and now they're making their way around the parking lot because what was told to me by Detective Brian Pritchard was the suspects also walked back over to a car and then drove away. Moments ago, I saw security reviewing video footage with Seattle detectives, so they're definitely all over this trying to find out where those suspects are. And the transit station is open. You just cannot enter it from the south end. You need to either go from the north or from the center. Live in Seattle, Scott Carty, KIRO News Radio.
Thank you, Scott. We're hearing from family members of 2 women and a girl who were fatally shot in Renton earlier this month. KIRO 7 TV's Samantha Lomi-Bao was at their vigil.
Holding each other close, family and friends honored 39-year-old Jamie Ray, 9-year-old Alexia, and 46-year-old Darcy Moore.
We're still in shock. Never in my wildest thoughts I would ever think like this could ever would have happened.
We're trying to be strong as a family and be here for each other in this situation and do what we can to honor their life.
Their lives taken when they were shot and killed inside their Renton apartment.
The suspect, who had been in a romantic relationship with one of the women, is being held on $10 million bail. Family members of a missing young Arlington man are passing out information this week in Everett and Kirkland, where a security camera may have spotted him this month. Jonathan Wong is autistic and walked away from his home in March. His sister tells KIRO 7 TV.
He has to be receiving help from somewhere because he has no money, he has no ID, he has no phone, he has nothing other than himself and the clothes that he's wearing.
People who encounter him might not know that his family is desperately searching for him, so we put Jonathan's photo up at mynorthwest.com. If you see him, call 911. Drivers at the I-90 State Route 18 interchange in Snoqualmie are starting their first full week with the state's second diverging diamond. WashDOT still has to finish widening SR 18 just south of the interchange, but Snoqualmie Mayor Catherine Ross hopes the new traffic feature helps with congestion.
Congestion and dangerous conditions also make it difficult for our businesses to hire and retain employees, especially if they commute over Tiger Mountain or have to deal with delays at the exit.
This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunshine today with highs around 80. It's 63 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO Newsradio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio, Northwest News.
This is the Gee and Ursula Show with G. Scott and Ursula Reutin.
What's up, everybody? It is the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Monday, July 28th. Welcome to everyone that's listening, however you're listening, on the YouTube, everything. Ursula,
YouTube's
good morning.
back.
YouTube's back.
So if you've folks got bumped off, but it's back now. Mm-hmm. So in case you are part of that lively group over there, I understand they get a little testy.
Right.
Maybe I shouldn't point that out. As always, our text line is open for you, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. Weigh in, because at the end of this upcoming segment, we are going to share your thoughts. Mount Rushmore of Seattle sports, past and present. Who's on it? Who are the four? We're not going to add. I know there's some talk about adding another president to Mount Rushmore. We're not going to add. So who are the top four? I do have an answer now.
Oh, you got one? Oh, a lot of folks are texting in about that topic. All right, Ursula, let's go.
What's new at 10?
And I'm sad to say that it is the end of an era in Tacoma's South End. This September, after decades of service, the Fred Meyer on Pacific Avenue is closing. And for a lot of you folks who live around there, it's not just about losing a store, right? It's about losing something that has been in the neighborhood for a while.
Yes. When you all hear us say on this show, when we bring up food deserts, when Ursula is talking about whether it's a Rite Aid or a Bartell's or something like that, when you have places for people on fixed income to go get their prescriptions, right? This is a staple right there on the corner of 72nd and Pacific Avenue. Fred Meyer. They coming up in September, Ursula.
Yeah.
That will be closed down. And I'm telling you, there's so many apartments that's right down the street.
Yeah.
So that means that people now, instead of being able to be walkable and go close right there, when that closes down in September, they will now, the closest grocery store would be the Winco that is over there on 72nd, close to Hosmer over there. But this is such an inconvenience.
So Kroger is saying that the Tacoma location is one of about 60 stores being shut down all across the country. And they're saying that, hey, some stores just aren't pulling their weight anymore. So what is happening? Too many people buying on Amazon. The company says it's also trying to cut costs, refocus on things like fresh food and pharmacy and online shopping. And they're also trying to recover from a failed merger and a big shakeup at the top. So locally, though, people are really angry. The neighborhood council chair, Andrea Hogg, says that her phone has been on fire with people who are panicking, especially those who live nearby, who say they were relying on that store being walkable. And I guess the question for you, if you're thinking, oh, well, I'll just order online, what makes a neighborhood? And we asked it fairly recently, what makes a great neighborhood? And to me, one of the things is you don't have to get into your car if you want to go to the store.
Right. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say some things that most of you all, when I say them, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that too. Okay. Let's just take that Fred Meyer, right? And you all know Fred Meyer has different areas. It has the produce, it has the bakery. Let's talk about the bakery. What is the bakery? Yeah, it's got the donuts, it's got the cake and all those things. Oh, wait. That's the bakery where I go to get the birthday cakes for my child. Or that's where I go for prom. I get the corsage and all those things. That's where I go to get the birthday cards. Like grocery stores in a community, that's what makes a community. You go, you get off work, and before going home, you stop off at the store. You see Mildred over in produce. You say Steve over in the bakery. Oh, then I'm going to go to the meat department. You develop relationships in the grocery store.
Well, you're absolutely right. And as they close, I'm still mourning the loss of our local Rite Aid. I'm not even kidding.
I know. I remember.
Were crying on the last days because one of the women who works there she pointed out that she remembered developing. Do you remember when we actually used to develop film and get your pictures processed at pharmacies like Rite Aid? And she said, yeah, I remember developing your pictures of your firstborn. That's how long she'd been there.
Boom. See what I'm saying?
Yes, and it's like you lose that, and I get it. I get it for the companies like Kroger. They need to make it make sense, bottom line, financially. But what are you willing to do? Do you remember the time when we actually used to be able to go to the grocery store after 10 o'clock at night and it wasn't hard? We went from one extreme where you could shop 24/7 to now we've got them just shutting down.
Right. And that's the thing. And when I think about right there, Ursula, right there on Pacific Ave, there are a lot of apartments that's right there. And I think about the people that probably said, okay, I'm going to live right there. And at least I'm right here. It's walkable to go right to the grocery store. It'll be easy for me. That is now going to be now an added expense for you to get to that place. And again, like you said, we will continue to see big companies make decisions like these. So I guess my question would be is this. Is it worth grocery stores getting help from the federal government? But you can't say that because these companies are choosing huge profit, right? They're choosing profit, and this will hurt a lot of people.
Or how about this? Are you willing to change your shopping habits? So many people are just saying, you know what, I can just have Amazon deliver it right to my door.
Sure.
I don't even need to go to the grocery store.
Yep.
I mean, that is one of the big reasons that a lot of these brick and mortar stores are shutting down.
And I just want one last thing, Ursula. The reason why I'm making this a big deal, because it's a huge deal for the people right there. And it's a huge deal when it happens in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And if it happens in your neighborhood.
Yeah. And you always remember the day that particular business moved out.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, speaking of, well, actually we're going to speak about Lacey because there is a puppy there that is lucky to be alive after overdosing on fentanyl. And now the puppy's owner could be facing criminal charges. And where did my story go? It just disappeared. Okay, so police found this dog in a car outside the Old Nisqually markets, along with fentanyl, heroin, needles, and a loaded gun. And the woman inside, the dog owner, admitted that the drugs were hers, and she told officers that she knew she was going to go to jail, even asking if someone could take her 2 dogs. And then moments later, officers noticed that the puppy was barely breathing, and EMTs used Narcan to revive the puppy. And later, Animal Services had to give another dose. The puppy is now named Espresso and is recovering at the Seattle Humane Society. And the woman is being charged with drug possession, unlawful firearm possession, and animal cruelty. And eventually, Espresso will be up for adoption once the case is resolved. And the Humane Society is reminding pet owners you need to keep drugs and toxins far away from animals. This obviously sounds like an extreme case, but one of the questions that comes to mind for me would be, should exposing a pet to drugs, accidentally or not, automatically result like in a lifetime ban of owning animals?
If you left the drugs around for kids, right, there would be, well, they couldn't ban you from having more kids, I guess. I mean, I guess you can still kind of reproduce in that way. Yes, please, there needs to be a ban on someone getting animals. And what I love the fact that this story got attention, right? I love the fact that they are showing this dog who was in harm's way, and I'm glad it's a big deal because having drugs around animals, yeah, I think you should be locked up for that too. No question. I know it's not babies, but I know we're not used to hearing about how Narcan was used on some animal, but I love that this is getting attention.
Well, I love the fact that they thought to use the Narcan, and the Narcan actually worked on a puppy. So that's first and foremost. The other thing is, do you have Narcan, by the way, readily available?
No, in my house?
Yeah.
I don't. Should I?
It is a reminder, though, because I know of folks. I saw a video where a mom was putting Narcan as one of the things in her daughter's college basket of things to go. And I thought, some people were like, why would you do that? You're exposing. Why not give the message, don't use drugs?
Yeah, that's good.
And but on the other hand, it's like, why not have it available if you are? I would love to be able to save somebody if in fact I saw someone having an overdose. Not that, again, my message would always be, don't use drugs.
Well, first of all, I was not expecting that question.
I know.
You caught me off guard. And maybe some of you experts, correct me if I'm wrong. In my house, in my personal house, I don't, call me naive, but I don't think people are going in my bathroom doing drugs. I can understand being in a college dorm or in a business, but should I? Should I have Narcan in my house?
I know that there are some people. I don't have it. I've thought about it, because you can buy it, right? And they talk about how many lives are saved because of the accessibility. I would rather people just not use drugs. But in the event...
Where would you put it? Up under with the Lysol? Up under the sink? No, seriously.
I want to know from other people. If you carry Narcan, where do you have it? Have it in your car. Like, if you were to run into somebody who was having an overdose, what would you do?
You really caught me off.
Am I throwing people off?
No, I mean, so at my college campus, they made it accessible that anyone could have access to Narcan, but they also issued a course that if you wanted to, you could learn how to administer Narcan properly.
You.
And I think it's less about creating the idea of, that just is encouraging drug use, but more so you never know when you're going to be in an environment when someone could need help.
Okay.
And see, I think that's wise.
You know what? Thank you for doing this, Ursula. Because now what you have done is I am now going to, I don't even know what it looks like if somebody's going to overdose on someone.
Selling it at my Rite Aid.
And number two, I don't know what to do. I don't know if you use the Narcan like it's mace. I don't know. So I'm not trying to be funny. I am about to find out, and I'm actually going to start putting some in my car starting this week. I promise you. Because you just embarrassed me by asking.
I didn't mean to.
No, you didn't mean to, but I just realized that I don't know what to do. If I had a can of Narcan, you shake it up like it's spray paint. I don't even know.
But I don't think a lot of people do. I think it's kind of like CPR. It's more like a preventative measure. In the sense. Not everyone's going to know how to use it or know how to administer it, but it's a good skill to have.
I'm gonna put some in my car.
We're gonna do something even better.
What?
We are gonna invite an expert on Narcan to join us on the show. Like, we're gonna do that this week, and we're gonna learn how to use it.
Yep.
And then you and I go get it.
Yep.
Again,
now, whoever the expert is, tell them to bring some.
with the idea of not to encourage drug use, because that's the first. We're not about that. That's the first message we have. But in the event of, I mean, I'm thankful that these people were able to jump in. Obviously, the medics and the first responders were able to save that dog.
Because you never know. Even though you might have a get together, you never know what somebody might do in your bathroom. No, being serious now. No,
it's true.
You have no idea. You can't say, they look like they do or they don't. You have no idea.
And just FYI, the naloxone, so Narcan is a nasal spray.
Okay.
So you insert the device into one nostril and press the plunger to deliver the medication. So it's really easy. It's meant to be very easy too.
Okay. Well, I'm getting on that this week.
Yeah. Okay. We asked the question, who's on your Mount Rushmore for Seattle sports?
And I gave my 4.
Okay, who are your 4 again?
My 4, the 2 that I will not even argue with you all on. There's no argument. Ken Griffey Jr. and Sue Bird.
Yes, you and I were in agreement.
No argument.
Okay, so who are the other 2?
Ichiro and Walter Jones.
Can I comment on this, G?
Huh.
I asked ChatGPT what their Mount Rushmore would be, and that was their Mount Rushmore, those 4.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. I was curious. I was like, we're having this conversation about AI.
Well, you just ruined it for me, because those are not my 4.
All right, what you got, Ursula?
You're right on par with AI, G.
Ken Griffey Jr., Sue Bird, Lenny Wilkins, and Steve Largent.
Okay.
I wanted to kind of spread it around the different sports.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, Nick.
Well, I had to put some factors into mind thinking about it, because I was going to put all 4 baseball players on there, but I was thinking I got to include the WNBA, and then since the Seahawks won a Super Bowl, I'll include the Seahawks too. So I thought about player greatness, team accomplishment, and fan popularity. So first of all, Griffey, I think that's a no-brainer. You're going to put him up there. He was great with the Mariners, made it to the playoffs in 95. And then I'm going to throw Ichiro on there. because he also, aside from, the team kind of struggling later in his career, he alone individually was one of the greatest center fielders of all time, right fielders as well. I mean, mainly right field. But then I'm going to throw Sue Bird in there for WNBA, also one of the greatest point guards of all time. And the Storm won a lot of championships. But the fourth one was really tough. I think Walter Jones is a good choice, but when you think about the Seahawks as a whole, they made the Super Bowl, but they didn't win one. So I lean towards the Legion of Boom. And if I have to pick one person to represent that group, because I think they were the greatest secondary of all time, which led to a championship for Seattle, I'll put Richard Sherman up there, but a close second was going to be Cam Chancellor. I wish I could put all four of those guys up there, but I had to pick one, and Sherman seemed to be the most outspoken, and he seemed to be the leader of that pack.
Oh,
okay. I'm going to tell him you said that.
Oh, nice.
And then he's going to ask me if I put him on there. And I'm about to tell him no.
You say, I put Walter up there.
Rob in Puyallup said his would be Dave Niehaus, voice of summer when growing up. Okay, and he didn't play, but I get it. Ken Griffey Jr., Marshawn Lynch, and Steve Largent. And then 425 said Mount Rushmore for the Seahawks has to be Steve Largent. Kevin in Woodinville said Lenny Wilkins has to be on there. I agree with you on that one. And then Scott from Renton says, I know Russell's not popular, but Super Bowl win, he has to be considered for the Mount Seattle Rushmore. You're still marveling at the idea that you and ChatGPT were on the same page.
I know you. I'm loving that. By the way, I found out on Narcan, I guess you can go. A lot of you all are texting in where you can go get it for free. But Ursula, I'm sure glad that you asked that question, because what it did was I've never once thought about getting Narcan. Never.
But imagine if you were able to reverse someone's overdose.
Exactly. So I think during the break, I'm just going to order some just in case. I don't want to forget, so I want to put myself on the spot, so I'll do that. Hey, we got scenarios. That's going to be happening at 10:47. But up next, have y'all noticed that folks ain't having babies? Have you noticed that Gen Z is chilling on kids?
Specifically in the Seattle area.
Because Seattle right now, where do you all think Seattle ranks when it comes to having babies? We'll tell you next. Gee Ursula.
This hour is brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington.
You never know what's in store each morning once you hit the road.
We've got a major traffic alert in effect right now.
Well, you're getting ready every morning. Make us part of your routine.
What morning, huh?
Yeah. Got off to an early start.
Just tell your smart speaker to play KIRO Newsradio or stream us on the app.
Both directions of I-5 are closed.
We'll help you get where you're going faster.
Maybe bail at 512.
KIRO Newsradio. We're on your smart speaker, the app, and 97.3 FM.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up, like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
An illegal alien from Guatemala charged with raping a child in Massachusetts. An MS-13 gang member from El Salvador, accused of murdering a Texas man. A Venezuelan charged with filming and selling child pornography in Michigan. These are just some of the heinous migrant criminals caught because of President Donald J. Trump's leadership. I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Under President Trump, attempted illegal border crossings are at the lowest levels ever recorded, and over 100,000 illegal aliens have been arrested. If you are here illegally, you're next. You will be fined nearly $1,000 a day, imprisoned, and deported. You will never return. But if you register using our CBP Home app and leave now, you could be allowed to return legally. Do what's right. Leave now. Under President Trump, America's laws, border, and families will be protected.
Sponsored by the United States Department of Homeland Security.
Your new beginning starts now. D.R. Horton has new construction homes available throughout the greater Seattle area. With spacious floor plans, flexible living spaces, and home technology packages, you can enjoy more cozy moments and sweet memories in your beautiful new home. With new home communities opening throughout the Seattle area, D.R. Horton has the ideal home for you. Visit drhorton.com to learn more. D.R. Horton, America's builder, an equal housing opportunity builder.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
G. Scott here to talk about Sunbucks, a SNAP program that provides free, healthy food when school is out. If you could use the help, simply fill out the form online to determine eligibility for $120 of free food per child. If families had cards last year, they have been replenished. If families need new cards, they can call the Sunbucks call center. This message is presented by Safeway, where customers can use SNAP to save on produce and shop online. Visit hungerfreewa.org/summer EBT.
Hey, this is Pete from Home Matters, a show that covers everything having to do with your home. Tune in every Saturday from 2 to 3 on KIRO Newsradio, where you'll hear from local business owners who are experts in their industries. From foundation to flooring, roofing and windows, furniture, and financial planning, it's everything in and around your home, and we've got you covered on Home Matters. If it matters to you, it matters to us here at Home Matters. Saturdays from 2 to 3 right here on KIRO Newsradio, or listen to the podcast on mynorthwest.com.
Spike O'Neill here with Dr. Matthew Sharp, owner of Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens. Dr. Sharp, I am amazed at the brightness and the clarity that I didn't even realize I'd lost before I had my procedure. How's that even possible?
A lot of people don't realize that. As you get older, the lens not only is less flexible, but it gets less transparent. And gradually, even in our 40s, 50s, 60s, the lens variety does get less transparent. So you get more glare at night, more halos, loss of contrast sensitivity, loss of some color vision or decreased color vision.
Exactly what I was seeing.
And so when we replace that lens that gets cloudier and cloudier with a crystal clear lens, all of the light gets through, all of the clarity, all the brightness, all the colors. And again, with the multifocal lenses that we have, it's sort of like a bifocal built in, so you can see near and far.
Give the folks at Sharp Vision Modern LASIK and Lens a call at 425-451-2020 or online at sharp-vision.com. Sharp with an E-vision.com.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. A manhunt is underway in Seattle after a shooting at the Northgate Transit Center this morning. KIRO News Radio Scott Carty is there and joins us live. Scott?
Heather, this happened about 7:40, right in the heart of the commute. A 48-year-old man shot in the head. There are 2 suspects that are on the loose. One is described as wearing a gray hoodie and a mask at the time. They walked away, and then police confirmed with me that they then left in a vehicle. There is a spot in a south lot from this transit center that they've just cordoned off, and I believe that's probably where the suspect's vehicle was. They're actively searching, and the victim was transported to Harborview Medical Center in critical condition. We'll keep you posted on KIRO News Radio. Scott Carty.
Thank you, Scott. And a search is underway for a gunman after a Lummi Nation police officer was shot during a traffic stop early this morning west of Bellingham. The Whatcom News reporting the officer was sent to a hospital. His condition is not known. Police in Michigan are trying to determine what prompted a man to walk into a Walmart store and start stabbing people. A witness here.
He started to kind of face me and run in my direction, and that's when I saw the knife in his hand.
What did you do?
I ran.
11 people were wounded. A 42-year-old Michigan resident was taken into custody. President Trump is downplaying suggestions that he pardoned sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Well, I'm allowed to give her a pardon, but nobody's approached me with it. Nobody's asked me about it.
The Department of Justice has been talking to Maxwell in prison amid growing calls for Trump to release the Epstein case files. Trump is in Scotland, where he announced a trade deal with the European Union. The U.S. is placing a 15% tariff on goods imported from Europe. That's lower than the rate Trump had threatened. Canada still faces a Friday deadline to make a deal or face stiff tariffs. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney.
But the assurance for Canadian business, for Canadians, is we will only sign a deal that's the right deal, that's a good deal for Canada. We're representing Canada. We're standing up for Canada.
After photos of starving children and in Gaza were seen worldwide, more food relief is entering the war-torn territory. The latest from CBS's Elizabeth Palmer.
Yesterday, Israel, Jordan, and the UAE all parachuted pallets of humanitarian aid into the ruins of Gaza. It is dramatic, but just a fraction of what's needed. The bulk will have to come by truck, and right now, Gazans are so hungry that they're looting the convoys, in this case, bags of flour, before the trucks can reach their depot.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down 81 points, NASDAQ up 55. From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk, the B2 entrance at the Transit Center in Northgate is closed because of that shooting investigation I just told you about. A crash is blocking a lane on State Route 167 southbound at I-405. You're jammed up to State Route 515. 2 lanes still closed for construction on I-5 near the Ship Canal Bridge. Express lanes remain open northbound, putting pressure on your southbound commute, so your travel time Linwood to Seattle is 45 minutes, about half an hour longer than usual. Alderwood to South Center, 76 minutes, 40 longer than typical. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio. This weather update brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunny skies today with highs around 80. It's 66 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO Newsradio Northwest News.
Welcome back to the Gee and Ursula Show. Happy Monday to all of you. Have you noticed, and maybe this is something that is hard to notice right away, but fewer people are having babies these days. And there is a new report out today from Smart Asset that ranks Seattle dead last among major U.S. cities when it comes to families having children. According to the latest census data, only 2.6% of people in Seattle are welcoming babies. That is just 26 kids for every 1,000 people. So there are all sorts of reasons that come up in terms of why people aren't having kids, especially in Seattle. But one of them would be that Seattle is the 4th most expensive city to raise a child, right below Boston, San Francisco, and San Jose. Now, it says $34,000 a year. I think that's low when it comes to the cost of raising a child in the Seattle area. But nationwide, the U.S. fertility rate also hit a record low last year. But what do you think it is about I almost don't even want to ask, but what the Seattle area and why we would be dead last when it comes to birth rates?
Okay, first of all, real quick, just came out last week, the top states in the country as far as home prices, right? What costs to buy a house in America. The top states, yes, California is the most expensive. Hawaii is number 2. And, oh my goodness, the state of Washington is number 3. Oh, you have that. Ursula, in your top stories of the day, you even did it today. How often are you talking about the gas tax? How often are we talking about the average cost to live in Seattle? How often are we talking about child care services? We are housing affordability. People broke. But it's expensive to have babies. They still, some of these in the South, and we're in Alabama, the average cost of a home is $220,000. In Washington, the average $612,000 throughout the state. It broke.
But I think that is a factor, but it's certainly not the only factor. And I've had some interesting conversations. I love having conversations with people much younger than myself because they open my eyes to a few things, and I learn so much. For example, I talked to my niece. I've talked to two of my nieces who are in no rush to have children. They are in their early 30s, and they are in no rush. And in fact, both of them have said, if I don't have children, my life will be perfectly fine. And it's not just the cost. They talk about, do I want to bring into this world, when we have so many issues, to bring in a child? They also say my life would be perfectly fulfilled if I didn't have children. Both of them love pets and have a very strong affinity for pets and say, hey, I can be a great aunt. This is a conversation I just had over the weekend. My niece said, I could be a fantastic aunt. I don't have to be a mother.
I think it's two things. I think is the cost of living, number one. And number two, it is women. Key point here. Women can now flourish in careers today more than they could yesterday.
I absolutely agree with you. I also think that they're taking longer, and then at some point your biological clock does run out, and you're like, well, you know what? My life's been good. My life's not going to end if I don't have children. Mm-hmm. I can find that kind of fulfillment elsewhere. But why is this an issue? So I mean, and there are things that when you look it up and look at, well, why should we care that people are having fewer and fewer kids? I mean, it's going to mean less traffic on the roads, right?
Child care in Seattle is expensive, as expensive as mortgages.
This is true. I mean, that is a factor. That is
huge factor.
That is absolutely a factor.
I think there's another factor that people think about too, aside from the money and not being able to have the time, but you think about the education system as a whole too, and like the times we're living in now. Public education funding is getting cut. You're seeing teachers on strike asking for more wages, higher pay, and you think, future parents, do they want to be homeschooling their kids? Will they have time to? I feel like that'll increase childcare costs as well if we don't support our public education system as well.
Well, interesting that you bring that up, Nick, because you know what happens when you have fewer and fewer students enrolling because of declines in population?
Downsizing.
Exactly. So much of the funding is based on enrollment numbers.
My daughter, from Victoria on Tiger Mountain, my daughter is 37 years old, have one child, and that's all she's going to have because it is too high cost of living. She always wanted more children. She cannot afford it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think that's a huge, huge factor. Yeah. I mean, that is something that I used to say I wanted 4 children. And then after having the first one, it was like, okay, I think we're just going to do one more. And cost definitely weighed in on all of that. And I just thought I just could not manage having 4.
Yeah, that's another thing mentioned in this Smart Asset study is as of 2022, the average family size in Seattle is right below 3 kids. So people aren't having a lot of children in the same way. And I do think cost of living is an attribute, but I also think culturally in the city of Seattle, there is less pressure for people to feel forced into having families. Because there are some cities on the list that are having high birth rates, but are also expensive to live in.
Yeah, which ones?
Sacramento is a great example. It's a California city. They are, I believe, number 12 in terms of highest birth rate. So they're 12th on the list of highest birth rate, but they are number 10 in terms of most expensive to have a child. So it could just be a matter of culture and what people are expecting in different communities.
The cost of living in Sacramento is higher than the national average, but lower than most major cities in California.
Okay, so just if you could go a little further, though, when you say culturally speaking.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in my experience being in Seattle, having come from major metropolitan cities in California and different areas, I do feel that as a young person, there's more people that are like, oh, you know what? Like, I'm not going to have a family and like, that's fine. And there's not any pressure or external influence that's like, oh, what, you're not going to have kids? I've seen a little bit
more accepted here.
More acceptance, from at least from what I've seen from my viewpoint. Of course, in the inner circle, it's different.
D from Bellevue says, my only child doesn't want to have children with her husband, who agrees because of climate change and overpopulation.
There you go. I mean, that's something that probably isn't talked about enough, but the younger generation absolutely believes in climate change and does have that as a big concern when it comes to having
253.
kids.
My son is his wife. He and his wife have one child. They wanted another, but the money isn't matching. My wife are planning to pay for his private school tuition due to the lack of structure with public schools. Nick said that about the public school.
You know, there's a lot of people moving up from California and Arizona, the desert area, because of climate change. There's a lot of forest fires down south, so they come up here as sanctuary.
That's true, too. That's true, too. Okay, text us, 888-973-5476, 888-973 KIRO. Love to hear your personal story. If you decided either not to have children or reduce the size of your family based on what factors, we'd love to hear.
Hey, coming up in scenarios, check this out, y'all. Y'all ever get ready to go on that trip with a bunch of couples, but then you start to worry about the sleeping situation? Well, that's what's happening next. It's the sleeping situation at a lake house. It's freaking her out. We'll do that next. Gee Ursula.
KIRO News Radio, the Northwest's trusted news source.
Get the latest from KIRO News Radio's James Lynch.
It happened Wednesday morning just after 6 o'clock.
Experienced voices you trust.
Several people hurt after a violent Saturday in Pierce County.
Coverage you depend on.
More from KIRO News Radio's Matt Markovich.
It's as close to a veto warning as you could possibly get.
KIRO News Radio. We're on YouTube, our app, your smart speaker, and 97.3 FM.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Hey there. You hear that? Right. You don't. That's what it's like to order food for your workplace with EasyCater. No hold music while you wait to place your order. No tapping as you type in special dietary instructions or long, complicated searches for options in your budget. No crinkling of paper receipts. Just...
Dang, these are some tasty sandwiches.
EasyCater, the better way to order food for work. Order now at easycater.com.
Comcast Business High Five Hotline. What's the state of your excitement?
I signed my business up for the 5-year price lock guarantee, and I can't stop high-fiving people. High five!
Okay, deep breath.
High five.
You're in a good place. You signed your business up for 5 years of gig speed internet and advanced security, all on our ultra-reliable network.
Gig speeds and advanced security? I'm so stoked.
Yep, and you get it at a great rate that's locked in for 5 years.
Woo!
The high five is just your body's way of saying, I'm winning.
So this is natural.
High-fiving everyone you see in a state of business savings enthusiasm, totally natural.
Sweet! Thank you! Thank you! High five, everybody! High five!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee is back, but only for a limited time, so sign your business up today.
High five!
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ends 9/21/25 for new customers with qualifying bundle. Current customers may be eligible depending on services and area. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
We're here with our friend Steve Teitler of Best Mortgage, the reverse mortgage expert. Steve, mortgage rates have been dropping this year. How could that help seniors struggling to stay in their homes?
Lower mortgage rates means seniors can now get more money from their equity with a reverse mortgage. You can pay off your existing mortgage, have extra money to help with today's high cost of living, or believe it or not, you can even buy a home with a reverse mortgage. There are many uses, and best of all, you have no mortgage payments the rest of your life.
But as you always say, a reverse mortgage is not for everyone.
That's right. Avoid the high-pressure sales pitch from those out-of-state call centers. I give you a consultation, not a sales pitch. I'll tell you if a reverse mortgage is right for you, and I always tell you if it's not.
Honest advice you can trust from the reverse mortgage experts. Best Mortgage, the VA loan experts and debt consolidation specialists too. 425-649-6000. Best Mortgage, 425-649-6000.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gordon Christensen, and if you're a dentist as I am, or you know a dentist, please take a moment to listen. When I became a dentist, I learned how quickly poor oral health can lead to other serious health problems. And for people without access to care, these problems can spiral very quickly. I wanted to help, but I wasn't sure how I could until I joined Dental Lifeline Network. It's a nonprofit that has helped us literally change the lives of people in our communities. DLN asks dentists to volunteer to see just one of the many patients in need in your area. It's very simple. DLN screens those in need and coordinates an initial appointment that takes place in the comfort of the dentist's own office and on their schedule. Right now, there's a wait list for patients in need in your community. I'm asking fellow dentists who will join me in seeing one patient per year.
Learn more about Dental Lifeline Network at willyouseeone.org. That's willyouseeone.org.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Saturday, August 23rd, enjoy the 30th birthday bash for University Place at Cirque Park, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Bands all day, over 50 vendors, beer garden, and family zone. Don't miss it August 23rd. Special thanks to Honest Home Solutions. Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on mynorthwest.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Good morning, everybody. It is the Gee Ursula Show. Let's get to these good old scenarios.
Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
So a good friend of mine is having a milestone birthday, and her husband booked and paid for a house on a lake for 5 couples to stay for a weekend and surprise her. The house has 3 bedrooms. 2 bedrooms have 1 king bed in them, and 1 bedroom has 2 bunk beds. There's also a pull-out couch in the basement living room. I am generally not high-maintenance person, but it's weird that I wouldn't want to stay in a bunk room with another couple. The other couples are friends, but sleeping with my husband in a room with another couple feels uncomfortable. I'd share a room with other girlfriends, but another man? That's weird. So I booked a room at a nearby resort as a backup plan without telling anyone. The problem is I'm not sure how to bring it up to the group. I know they'll want everyone to stay together, but I'm not comfortable just winging it until we get there and ended up in the room with another couple. Now, do I need to relax and realize it's not a big deal to stay in a room with another couple? Do I suggest the gals all stay in the bunk room and the guys can crash elsewhere throughout the house? I'd love your thoughts on how you'd handle this situation. 888-973-5476. Ursula, what you got?
I would have, you're probably on a group text at this point or some way that y'all are talking about this upcoming trip.
Yeah.
And just say, be honest, I don't feel comfortable bunking. And who are they going to be drawing straws as to who gets what room? I've done that before. And a lot of times that doesn't work out really well. So first of all, the choice of this house, not great for when we're talking about couples. So I would just throw it out in the open, just say, I want to be with y'all as much as possible, but when it comes to the sleeping arrangements, I'm not comfortable in the event that I get the bunk beds to have another dude in there. So could we, I've already booked a place. So you already came up with a great solution. Hang out all day, all night, and then when it comes to sleeping, go to the nearby hotel.
Okay. You know, I'm high maintenance. Look, I'm high maintenance. I am. I'll admit it. I am high maintenance.
Okay.
But in this situation,
yes,
it's a milestone birthday.
Yes.
You gotta suck it up, Buttercup, and go ahead. No, do not get the arrangements away from the place, and we're gonna stay out. No. You're already making this about you. This is one where you and your husband, hey, we just gonna tough this out. You sleep up there, I sleep down there. Do it for the birthday. This is, look, I'm high maintenance. I am.
Yeah.
But this is the situation you're in.
I'm not high maintenance, and I'm suggesting, hey, she came up with a solution to make everyone feel comfortable.
But when you start doing that, when you start staying away, it's changed dynamic.
But you know what else is going to change the dynamic? When people find out who gets the bunk beds. There are going to be some people, unless some people are really low maintenance and say, hey, we'll do this. We feel comfortable with this couple. We're good.
Take one for the team for the birthday. just take one for the team.
I don't know.
Hey, Mel and Bainbridge says, I'm too old to bunk. Resort, please.
Yes. I'm with you, Mel. I've lived too long.
All right. What do you got there, Sophia?
I don't know. All I'm thinking about is whoever booked the Airbnb is kind of messy. Like, they know that it's their birthday. They're staying in the king bed, you know. They're not worrying about it at all. And just being like, oh, by the way, there is a double bunk situation that two couples are going to have to share. You know that's messy. You know nobody wants to stay in that room. But I think inevitably, like Gee said, if it's a birthday celebration and everyone has to be together, you got to figure out a way to make it work. Because then if you go to a different resort, it might be dramatic. You might seem like, you know, the problem couple, whatever it may be.
I mean, let's be real. Depending on your crew, everybody has different crews. Some crews has, all right, everyone, it's 9 o'clock, nighty-night, and we all go our separate ways. Or you might have that crew like, ain't no telling.
The real fun starts after midnight.
Right? So
you don't want to miss out on the fun. That's why I said you stay there all day and all night, and then it's like when it comes to, okay, we got to crash. My other issue is I'm generally low maintenance, but I do have issues falling asleep. I'll never get a single stitch of sleep if I am bunking with another couple. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, that whole bunking with another couple.
Just no way.
Hey.
Unless it's already prearranged and you're comfortable with that.
Mel on Bainbridge says, OMG, Gee, I can't imagine you bunking with other couples.
I know. Yeah. Cheek says, I'm low maintenance. I mean, I'm high maintenance, but I'm going to take one for the team. I say BS on that one. Yeah. Gee, who laughs at me when I'm in the airline seat that is closest to the bathroom. And you're worried about your peanuts not getting warmed up.
Oh, man.
That warm towelette, too.
Now, you know what, though? Hold on. Yeah,
I'm not believing you.
Go ahead. What you got, Nick?
You know, I think there should have been full disclosure on how this situation was going to work before going on the trip. Seems like there was some, I don't know, ignorance on how it was all set up with the sleeping situation. I'm with the lady thinking another place to stay is probably a better option because if I'm planning on taking a vacation, I want at least a queen or king bed, not some bunk bed or trundle that the bar in the middle of your back's going to drive you insane. Go for the hotel outside the resort. Maybe next time ask what sizes those mattresses are so you're not put in this situation.
Hey, 206 asks a great question.
What'd they ask?
If they stay somewhere else, are they still going to be on the hook for their portion of Airbnb? And I say yes.
Yes.
So yes, and that would eliminate that possibility of being a problem. So yeah, pay for your portion of Airbnb, but I'm out of here.
But the ones with the king bed should pay a little more, I think. The ones who got the king bed.
Well, can I just...
that gets messy.
See?
It's already
that gets even messy.
Oh, y'all are messy. I just want to tell y'all, Gee is staying in the bunk bed. I'm taking one for the team.
I know for a fact you're not.
All right. We got the 11 o'clock hour coming up on the Gee and Ursula Show. Look, we got a lot of news to get to, including our very own Scott Carty is up north at Northgate. There was someone that was shot in broad daylight, 7:40 this morning. We'll get you up to date on that. We'll do it next. Gee and Ursula.
You listen to John Curley every afternoon? What does John listen to every morning?
Here's how I start my morning. Get my pot of coffee going, and then I turn on Seattle's Morning News. I listen to Charlie and Amanda. This is how I prep for my show, because I know those guys have, hundreds of years of experience, although Amanda looks better than Charlie. I'm going to get the straight news.
Experience matters. Seattle's Morning News, weekday mornings 6 to 9 on KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, and the KIRO Newsradio app.
Cold leaking and rats are moving and mold is creeping and water seeping in. It's hard to be a homeowner, we know.
Without American Crawl Space and Pest Services, it is hard to be a homeowner. Dave Ross here. American Crawl are the heroes to call for insulation and pest issues because in addition to their great reviews and decades of experience, they also give out the most PSE insulation rebates of any insulation company in the state.
American Crawl, the heroes you call.
Get your free inspection at AmericanCrawl.com.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other, so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio, so we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
What other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, it sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-486-9600. That's 800-486-9600.
Are you worried about economic conditions, tariffs, and inflation? Are you tired of trying to time the stock market? Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given current market volatility. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Hi, I'm Scott Rurucka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years with 0 investor losses, averaging double-digit returns since inception, and we also accept IRAs. Over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Feeling uneasy? Don't gamble your hard-earned money or risk your retirement. Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited openings for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit LegacyG.com. That's LegacyG.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at LegacyG.com.
KIRO FM and HD1 Tacoma, Seattle. This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. In Scotland today, meeting with Britain's Prime Minister, President Trump indicated he wants more done to alleviate the suffering of Palestinians in Gaza.
This is a desperate situation. I told Israel, I told Bibi that
You're going to have to now maybe do it a different way.
Israel paused its military operations for 10 hours to allow some aid in. CBS's Elizabeth Palmer is in Tel Aviv.
Today, more aid trucks are on the move as international agencies gear up to feed the hungry and, by now, the desperate. There have been airdrops, too. Yesterday, Israel, Jordan, and the UAE all parachuted pallets of aid into the ruins of Gaza. It sure makes for dramatic pictures, but it's expensive and it's actually not very efficient. The bulk of the aid will have to come in by truck. Each one can carry between 4 and 10 times as much as a parachute.
President Trump also today signaled his frustration over the continuing war in Ukraine, as Natalie Brand reports.
On Ukraine, President Trump told reporters he will likely reduce the 50-day deadline he gave Russian President Vladimir Putin for a ceasefire deal, threatening tougher new sanctions.
I'm going to make a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting.
A judge has blocked the administration's efforts to defund Planned Parenthood. Christopher Cruz has that.
The judge granted the organization, the nation's largest abortion provider, a permanent injunction. It blocks the federal government from cutting Medicaid payments to Planned Parenthood clinics for non-abortion related care.
Michigan authorities say a man accused of carrying out a knife attack at a Walmart store will face terrorism charges. Several people were stabbed before others, including one armed with a pistol, confronted the suspect in the parking lot. Lana Zach has that.
Grand Traverse County Sheriff Michael Shea told us he was impressed by the people who intervened before law enforcement even arrived.
They were actually utilizing numbers and their available resources to get this individual in a position where he couldn't get away.
It's so hot. Records are being broken in parts of Florida today and in New Orleans.
Honestly, I feel like as a child, the heat is not the same as it is now. It feels like it's on a completely different level.
The heat stretches from the south all the way to Iowa. Lawyers are seeking a temporary restraining order against the Immigration Detention Center in the Florida Everglades and say the detainees are being barred from meeting attorneys. They also say many are being held without any charges. On Wall Street, stocks are mixed. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. A manhunt is underway in Seattle's Northgate neighborhood. Details coming up, but because of that manhunt, the B2 entrance at the transit center is closed. In Federal Way, a crash is blocking a lane on I-5 southbound. You're backed up to State Route 18. A crash is blocking a lane on State Route 167. Southbound at I-405 in Renton, you're jammed up to State Route 515. 2 lanes closed for construction on I-5 northbound near the Ship Canal Bridge. Express lanes are open northbound, putting pressure on your southbound commute. Travel times, Linwood to Seattle, Alderwood to South Center, about half an hour longer than usual. Traffic brought to you by KIRO Newsradio.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good morning, I'm Heather Bosch. Gunfire at a Seattle transit station. KIRO News Radio Scott Carty reports.
In the heart of rush hour, 7:40, 2 men walked up to a 48-year-old male and shot him in the head.
Officers treated that victim, and he was transported to Harborview Medical Center. Critical.
The only description of the suspects is for one, wearing a gray hoodie and a mask. They walked away, then got in a vehicle and fled.
Officers are actively searching for these suspects.
From the south lower entrance of Northgate Transfer Station, Scott Carty, KIRO News Radio.
Family and friends of 2 women fatally shot in Renton this month held a vigil, telling KIRO 7 TV.
We're still in shock. Never in my wildest thoughts I would ever think like this could ever would have happened.
We're trying to be strong as a family and be here for each other in this situation and do what we can to honor their life.
The suspect, who had been in a romantic relationship with one of the women, is being held on $10 million bail. Family members of a missing young Arlington man are stepping up efforts to find him. More from KIRO 7 TV's Jason Sloss.
Jonathan Huang is autistic and has been missing since March 30th when he vanished from his family's home. They're now organizing 2 advocacy events to raise awareness about Jonathan's disappearance. Starting this week, the coffee stand in Kirkland will hand out 500 coffee sleeves featuring Jonathan's photo and details about his case. Then on August 2nd from 11 in the morning to 1 p.m., there will be a honk and Wave event at the corner of Broadway and Hewitt in Everett.
We put Jonathan's photo up at mynorthwest.com. If you see him, call 911. For a second time in a week, someone stole a fire truck while first responders were busy helping people. It happened in Edmonds Friday. The truck was found abandoned in Shoreline. The Friday before that, a thief took off in an Everett fire truck, crashing it into several cars, shaking Tyler Lehman's.
Boom, 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 right in front of our house.
He spoke with KIRO 17.